talking about you for a minute.
All right.
You come from a part of the world where you grew up, which is kind of far away from where all these guys that you were mentioning, all these guys you're talking about, they grew up in a part of the world in Spain where this was part of the culture that they had surrounding them, feeding them, and there was a kind of a constant.
Right.
They are kind of products, in a sense, of their environment, and they're kind of the best of it, right? And they're creative elements coming out of it, in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But there is sort of an environment there for them to be involved with, or whatever.
Oh yeah.
But you come from a different place. You had to kind of do it by yourself somehow, a little bit more. You were a little bit more on your own than somebody who had the benefit of coming from Spain. So how did you do that? What's the story? Your father was a classical player, very strong, great classical player, and that was what your instruction was in. But where did the flamenco come along?
Well, in the 80s, we didn't have that iron wall as before, and it was becoming a little bit easier to actually get some recordings from Western world in Russia and Soviet Union, with Gorbachev and the big change, right? So that's the time my father got really interested in flamenco, because he was able to get some of these recordings, which were like the 10th copy of the first,
Mm-hmm.
of the original, and he would get these recordings from a collector that he knew, his old teacher, and that hearing those Sabika's albums, for example, Paco de Lucia albums, and all the other great players that I heard, I fell in love with the music. I've always loved guitar. I've always loved classical guitar. We had a lot of recordings, and I would listen to it all the time. And my father would play, so I was very familiar with the sound of classical. But when I heard flamenco, it spoke to me. It spoke to my heart. It was something that I appreciated a little bit more than the classical.
What was the record that kind of it turned the light on and you said, "Wow"?
I don't even know what the record was, but I remember that listening to Sabika's made me very happy. Sabika's was the one that it was almost like I listened to the music and I was crying with the music without crying. It was like releasing the emotions. When you cry, you kind of release the whatever tension you have.
And then it's out.
Yeah. And when I listen to flamenco, I feel the same. I feel like whatever I feel inside actually comes out through the sound. So it's just close to me. And then, of course, I heard Paco de Lucia in a concert in 1986. He finally could come to the Soviet Union, and I was just a little boy, and I went there, and he just blew my mind with his concert, because Paco de Lucia in mid-80s was at his best. It was the peak of his career. His creativity was just out of this world. And this whole show with the dancer and the singer, his brother sang, and there was this dancer and this sextet, it was just unbelievable, just absolutely amazing. And I used to draw the picture, paint the stage with all the different lights, and afterwards, for about a year. So that was kind of the turning point. I told my father, I told my father, I need to learn this, and he didn't know how to do it. So he asked his collector, the recording collector, his old teacher, and we could find a method by Juan Martin that I used. I played all of those pieces after 1 year of study. And then I progressed to Sabika's, and after knowing all the techniques, I could actually get into it more, and I could listen to a record and get whatever was there. First, my father started transcribing from recordings, and he would show me later, and then I kind of replaced him because I found that I had a better ear.
Mm.
Yeah, so it was always only by listening to this music that I got it. So I never used tablatures or notations. I never learned anything from a tablature ever in my life.
Wow.
So everything that I played is just by ear. And when you play it by ear, it's almost like you're composing it in a way, because first you have the sound. You don't have anything to show you where the finger should stop, should play. So it's almost like composing, but the idea doesn't come from God. It comes from the player that you're transcribing.
From C player, yeah.
Right.